Hey Half-Bloods, thanks for being here. William and I have loved filming this podcast. Our first 4 episodes were very raw, we didn't have a firm game plan, and we just had a lot of fun talking about Harry Potter. This podcast was recorded several weeks ago. At the time of recording, we did not have a firm plan on the launch of Ultimate Harry Potter Trivia. At times during the podcast, I may say the games are available and ready to buy. That is a lie. The games will be ready on September 30th. Consider this episode a trial run. So I promise if you stick around, it'll only get better from here. Welcome, Half-Bloods, to the second ever pod between your hosts, Scott and William.
What up?
Are you excited? Are you excited for today,
excited.
William?
I've been thinking about it nonstop since the last time.
It's true. I wonder.
That's not inaccurate. That's 100% true.
Every time I was like a little bit sad at work and I was like, I don't want to be doing this, I would just open up my notes that I was taking on this podcast and just jot down a few ideas that I've had, and it instantly made me happier. So this is I think going to be my source of happiness for maybe the rest of my life. I'm not sure.
Time will tell if the show's any good.
If the show's bad, does this make this podcast better?
It'll be just as fun. It'll be just as fun.
Yeah.
Nothing will change. To
Agreed.
Be honest.
Which is what we plan to talk about today. Plans for today. Here's what you're getting at episode 2.
Yes.
We want to talk about the HBO show. What we kind of teed up, right, William, is 3 biggest things that we want, and then maybe a pipe dream that probably won't happen, but we could talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been super stoked about this show because it's the whole. I mean, like anything, I'm a person. I want more Star Wars. I want more everything. So if they're gonna make it and allegedly do it different, then I'm in. So very excited for everything.
Exactly. I feel like I was we're not getting into it yet, but I was scrolling back on like the first time in a group text that we referenced like HBO show, and it was in 2020 where Trevor was like, we were complaining about Harry Potter, and he was like, don't worry, when the HBO show comes out, we'll be fine. And he was referencing it like we'd already talked about it a lot, and that was in 2020. So that was 5 years ago.
We
So
definitely
I feel
have.
like
I mean, it's definitely been
Yes.
like at least a decade of like just because whenever streaming hit,
Yes.
like all of a sudden overnight, well, not overnight, whatever, but like all of a sudden everything's going on streaming, and we were just immediately like, well, if they just made a Netflix show, that would be incredible. Like if they just had way more time to put into it, like that would be amazing.
Exactly.
And here we are, and 2027, but
Which is, they've already started filming, and it just seems insane that we won't see anything until, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be early 2027 either, but I don't know. We'll see.
that's too bad. If they had hit Christmas 2026, like that probably would have been
True.
ideal.
People consider Harry Potter like a Christmas. I mean, I don't know. People are like, yeah, I watch Harry Potter every Christmas. I was like, why?
It's because they got nothing to do. I mean, there's snow.
There is snow. I mean, Christmas at Hogwarts is magical. I mean, they made the book, again, I talked about it last pod, like the Christmas story of Hogwarts his first year is what got my children to read Harry Potter. So I get it, but also like 31 Days of Halloween on original ABC Family or whatever, that's where it really started. This is witchcraft, okay? This is Halloween.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways.
That's true.
Before we dig in, the other segments of the show that I want to drop today, William, you tell me if you want to add anything to this, but this doesn't actually make sense, but I'm going to keep doing it. Where in the world is Ultimate Harry Potter Trivia? Even though we're not posting these live, these won't make sense. By the time you're listening to this,
picture today.
I did. By the time anyone's listening to this, the game will be available. So this doesn't make sense, and maybe we'll cut it. I also want to do a new category called I Think the Internet is Wrong or J.K. Rowling is Wrong. And there's a couple categories we can hit on this.
These are some of my favorite conversations with that.
We'll do another segment of Fred versus George. That'll be continuous, and honestly, doesn't take that much effort for me to prepare for. And then I'll also recap how my kids enjoyed book 1 and movie 1, and then go through one thing I learned while rereading with my children. And that's what I got today.
Heck yeah. Let's do it.
We ready for it? Let's dive deep.
Ready.
Should we need to make up gimmicks, like we're diving deep into the pensive. We're, our big segment's got to be called something. I don't know what it should be. We're diving into the goblet of fire. I don't know, but we'll get there.
Into the lake.
Ooh, into the lake. Join us on the Hogwarts Express as we journey towards something magical.
We'll find something. That's true. I don't know what it would be, but we will.
Let's have Trevor. Let's have Trevor on the next pod.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor was also surprised that China had green trees, so I don't know if that was a joke or not that he said today, but I don't know.
Trevor's very well read.
Love you, Trevor.
Very up to date on world events, and I'm sure he's aware of nature in China. But let's just have Trevor on and have him just make up segments, and that's all he's allowed to say on the pod, though. It's just, and the next segment is, and he just has to make something up. So
let's make him our producer, but so he can talk. But
he's Hank. He's
Hank and Max. Yeah, he's Hank. But we can mute him like we're Tony Reale.
Yeah. But mostly we make fun of him, and I like that.
He's our favorite. We love him. He's the best friend.
Yes, we're talking about him because he's one of the only listeners here. All right, should we jump into it? Our 3 biggest ones for the HBO show. We'll go every other. Do you want to go first?
Yes. Okay, sure. I'll go first. The first thing I thought of, because I thought about this segment and I was like, all right, well, I don't want to dive into such specific things like something about book 7, because obviously that's a decade away, right?
I tried to focus on book 1 as well.
Yeah, I'm what am I thinking about? And it wasn't always or just general stuff. So the first thing for me is I really want a distinct visual aesthetic. Okay, so I really hope they don't just, because they already have the movies, which I don't like. I think they suck. I'll just say it right now. But it's not about their visual thing sucks, but they already have theme parks, right? And people know what Hogwarts looks like, and it looks like that in their mind. They can't do that. You cannot do it. Do not make Hogwarts look just like the movie, right? Everything needs to be different. Now, obviously, there's a source material, so no, it's not going to be 180 degrees different, but it needs to be its own thing. It can't just be hey, we reused the stuff from the movie, we did this, that, or the other. It has to have its own specific visual aesthetic. Maybe things are brighter, maybe things are this, whatever. Hogwarts can't just be a carbon copy of what they built for the movie or something like that. It's got to be its own thing. I was thinking of the millions of Batman movies we've seen, how the most recent one, that Gotham was not the same as Nolan's Gotham or Justice League, which sucks. But you know what I mean? It's Gotham, but it's not. It's different. It's a different Gotham. This is Hogwarts. It's not the movie Hogwarts. It's got to have its own visual thing. What do you think?
This is a fascinating point, and we didn't share. Well, I mean, I took some notes, so I don't know what you read, but we didn't share what we were going to talk about. Yeah, and we didn't. So
I didn't add mine till right now. I've just been thinking about it, and I threw it on there.
Oh yeah,
an hour before.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize. Yeah, they're right here. No, I didn't think about this at all. And you bring up a great point, and I'm trying to think of good examples. Because it's just crazy that this is a complete remake, right? That they chose to do the exact same story. Because we have Rings of Power, which I think we both enjoyed a lot, but they didn't have the same problem, right? Where it's we're going to the exact same place, and so do we make it look the exact same, or do we put our own spin on it? They didn't have that problem. They got to do beautiful things in their own way, but this is, we're going to the exact same place to tell the exact same story. So that's when you were saying this, I was talking to a friend about Hogwarts Legacy. This is, again, I was late to the Hogwarts Legacy train.
Yeah.
And he was describing it to me oh yeah, it's, the game is canon. It's just like the movies, which made me be okay, the movies aren't canon. The movies are confusing and contradict the books, and I don't think the movies are canon.
Yeah, the movies are not canon. If you think the movies are canon, you're just wrong, period.
Right. Exactly. He's not a half-blood. Well, I hope he is a half-blood, but he's not a pure blood, that's for sure. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people might have the opposite take of you of no, I've seen Hogwarts in the movies. I've seen Hogwarts and Hogwarts Legacy. When I read the books, this is all I think of. it's got to be the same. Otherwise, I don't even know what we're looking. This is a. I agree with your take certainly, and I think the Batman example is a really good one. I'm trying to think of again. I don't know who's done. Has this ever happened where like a movie gets remade into a show 12 years after it's finished? Like this is
I don't.
unprecedented. No.
Yeah, I'm sure someone could find like if someone would probably tell us there has been something, right? I mean, like Dune's had multiple iterations, right?
Yeah.
But like the previous one was like so doo doo that like it doesn't even count. Like whatever, you know.
Right.
Like well, it's not even like the same thing. Like
I guess
so like
popular movie show remade in 12 years.
right. So I don't know, like because like I think Hogwarts Legacy is actually a good example because like yeah they like and I love that game, absolutely love it.
Same.
But
Same.
the thing about it is like it's so that Hogwarts is massive.
It is.
It's like true to what Hogwarts can and should be. Like it's massive, and I guess I can't even remember. Does it? I guess does it look just literally like the movie one from the outside, like on some shots?
I mean,
think
yeah,
it
to your
probably
point,
does, maybe.
I
But,
think it does.
But like
yeah.
once you're in there, it definitely has like its own thing. So like the only thing that like I've thought about that like I'd be like is if they use John Williams music, I think that's fine. That's like the one thing I'm like, all right, cool, because it's just like
Right.
like when I saw Superman, like Superman's not Superman if you're not going to use the John Williams theme. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's its own.
I feel
thing.
like sorry, keep going.
That was it. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like coming back to Rings of Power, that was something I was a little sad about because they had tons of like division of ownership and they couldn't like copy anything Lord of the Rings.
Right. That's a very.
I was a little sad, you know?
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah.
Anyways.
They have the appendices and like whatever else that they're allowed to talk about. But yeah, I think a distinct visual aesthetic is going to be hugely important. So like,
I like it.
like down to the way people dress. Like I hope like there was a certain way like, and it's hard because like, and I worry about the commercialization of it because
They
like
sell so much
the theme parks, and I love I just went to them a month ago. Like they're a big deal, and like that's burned in people's brains, and that's part of the monetization of the IP, and that's obviously a part of it. But they can't just like cut and paste that Hogwarts and throw it in there. It's got to be its own Hogwarts, right? Like obviously it's still based on a description from the book, so it's going to look similar. I'm not saying it can't be similar. I'm just saying like down to like the clothes and the costumes, everything's got to have its own. I just hope they don't copy any of that. Like
That's such a good point.
down to like the grounds. The way I mean, I didn't like the way they make the grounds look in the book. I thought it lost like, and that's hard to do. That's production stuff that probably I don't even understand how difficult that is. But like, it's just got to have its own visual aesthetic. Can't be the same.
It's
got to be its own thing.
The grounds give me no greater understanding. I feel like they're just like in the woods, and like sometimes the lake is like covered in woods, and sometimes that's not really how I pictured it. And like, but yeah, like the walk to herbology. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like the movie didn't give us.
Yeah, I mean, like they made up all sorts of stuff in the movie. Like, just trash. One day, this is one of our favorite topics. Is like, and I just want to say, I don't hate the movies to hate on people. I'm not here to yuck your yum, but objectively, they're poorly done. Period. Done. We'll move on to something else now.
please visit former account movies that must not be named for a detailed 250 reasons why we don't like the movies.
Oh yeah, we'll cover that another day for fun because it's just fun.
Will. And I will turn many of those into TikTok and Instagram reels. So don't worry.
Heck yeah. All right. So that's my first one, visual aesthetic, right? It's got to be its new own thing. So
I like it.
Now
I like it.
Spray me with yours. Spray it on me.
I'm gonna start off again. Let's hater talk, movies, whatever. I'm gonna get us started with something positive. I'm gonna do it in the form of trivia. There are, of course, 7 books and 8 movies in the original Harry Potters, and there are 13 characters that appear in all 8 movies. Would you like to try to name those 13 characters? Or you could do who are the top 8 characters throughout the movies in terms of screen time.
in terms of screen time.
Yes. And it's not the same list.
Let's do the screen time one. Harry, Dumbledore,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Hermione, Draco.
Draco, yes. And
I guess
Draco's
Voldemort.
8th.
Draco's
Voldemort
8th.
is 7th. Yes. So Harry first, Ron second, Hermione third, Dumbledore fourth, and you got Draco 8th, Voldemort 7th.
Voldemort 7th. So I'm missing 5 and 6.
Yes.
I'm trying to think, like, I'm going through like these movies that I just hate. I mean, like, shame it. Oh, it can't be that. No. It can't be like. I feel like gone blank on this. I don't know. I mean, I guess Molly, but that wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't. Snape. Oh, Snape and McGonagall. Snape and McGonagall.
Snape is correct. McGonagall is not. McGonagall is actually 11th, but Snape is 6th. So you're just missing number 5.
So I'm missing number 5.
And Molly doesn't crack the top 20.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. Number 5. I'm trying to think. Any other Weasleys or what? Throw me a hint, just to throw something out there.
A hint is that over 1/3 of this character's screen time is in the first movie.
Over 1/3 of that character's screen time is in the first.
Over all 8 movies, 1/3 of it comes in the first movie.
Oh, Hagrid?
Hagrid is correct.
Yeah.
Hagrid is correct. So I spent a good amount of time scraping the web for screen time by character for every single movie. I'll have Cassie flash something up on the screen, but I've got a nice little database here now, so I can answer any question about any screen time, any character, anything. I could give you some fun facts. You know, there's 1,179 minutes of Harry Potter movies. There's approximately 123 characters that appear over the film. And I have some more facts for you. And I'm finally getting to my point. This is why we should be excited. We just went through the top 8, and I'm going to stop at Severus Snape. Severus Snape is the 6th highest character in terms of screen time throughout the 8 movies. Would you like to guess how many minutes he is on screen over 8 movies? There's 1,179 minutes.
Under 45.
You are correct. 42 minutes of screen time for 6th highest screen time actor.
For the most complicated character in the entire narrative.
All we got was 42 minutes. William, we could get 42 minutes of Severus Snape in one episode of this HBO show. And that is what I'm so excited for. That if I go back to 2020 and 2018 and 2017, all I wanted was just spend more time with Harry Potter. I have many more hopes and dreams now, but originally all I wanted was more time. And that's what I'm going to start with is we could literally surpass that in one episode, just one episode of Snape's life. We'll a 55-minute HBO episode. If Snape's on the screen for 80% of that, we'll have more screen time in one episode than in 8 movies and 15 years of movies. I don't know how many. And that's an incredible thing to be excited about.
That is incredible. I mean, so like you're talking about like filling in backstory character work for the important people.
Yes, and I'm kind of splitting my two things. I don't want to dive too much deeper into it, but Yes, exactly. And so like popular HBO shows, Game of Thrones, The Penguin, House of Dragon, those all average 550 minutes per season. So in 2 seasons of this show, we'll
They
have
would
the same
pass.
amount of
Yeah.
screen time as 8 movies. And again, I assume we'll get some dives into some real characters and we will really get to know some characters. That's the hope anyways. Again, that's kind of my second one is how they focus on characters, but I'm going to pause there with just we
Yeah,
should be
it's kind of
excited.
like, I mean, shows do that all the time. We're like, we're all of a sudden like, hey, this is the so and so episode, right? Like
Exactly.
it leaves the main character, and then it's like, this is the blank episode.
Yes.
I'm blanking on like a show that I've watched recently.
Like Andor doing a flashback episode of the girl who runs the desk with Luthen, who I didn't care about before
Right?
that
Yeah, yeah,
episode.
yeah.
I didn't
Right.
care about her. And then they gave me her backstory and I loved her.
Yeah, and she was incredible.
We have more screen time of her in one episode than we had of Severus Snape in 8 movies. Like, that's literally where we're at.
Yeah, and that's not even like, that's just like a mechanical thing about like, you have time. Like, that's the whole point of doing
Exactly.
show. Like, you can do that stuff. Like I said, those reasons are like, stuff like that isn't why I don't like the movies. The movie is a different medium that has different
It is.
constraints, but like, that is something you just can't do with that small time. So that would be awesome.
So I didn't totally answer the question of what do I want, but what I want is more time with Harry Potter and the world, and I'm going to get it. If Snape was in 3.6% of available screen time. And if he does that over the course of the show, that would give us almost 3 hours of Snape on screen. And that would be wonderful. And hopefully we get more than that, which is kind of what my second point's going to be, but I'll concede there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that would be incredible. I'm already thinking, and we'll talk more about it, I think, in your second point, but like some of the other stuff that we can do with that. The space to tell the story, because it's such a long, sweeping, epic, like just long story narrative that has a lot of characters. It's not,
Right.
it's not I think about like the Hunger Games is like all told from like Katniss's point of view. So like that's much easier because like, yeah, there's a lot of people, but it's all still from her point of view. So like it translated easier to something like that with time constraint. So that's perfect. All right. So the second thing I thought of is like, I really hope, and I don't, what are the showrunners? I guess I should look it up, their names. Let's see.
It's true. That's what real podcasters do, and they act like they know them and they're like, respect them and friends with them.
Yeah, so
maybe we'll have
Francesca
them on at the
Gardner.
end of the season.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they probably know who we are. Francesca Gardner and Mark Mylod. She's a writer. So I don't know about them. I'm sure they are capable human beings who can make stuff, right? She co-executive produced Killing Eve, which I know is like a really popular show that people like.
I watch that. That's a good show.
So all I'm asking for is I just hope they actually really love the source material, because like it's not about like fidelity to the book where like that's the only thing that like matters is like, is it exactly like the book? But I have this very vivid memory of like the first movie when I was 11 years old, and like we go in there and I'm super excited. I'm a naive 11-year-old, and I go and I'm a bookworm, and I go in there. I'm like, they skipped so much stuff. But I remember specifically the thing that made me so mad, and this is kind of what I'm hoping for out of it, is like in the Devil's Snare when they're going through there, it's reminding me of some made up Luma Salem thing. I'm like, okay, why did you change that? She uses fire. Why are you using a made up spell? That's not like you didn't. I don't think they loved or cared. I think they just saw it as like a commercial. They were just like, let's make a movie, let's make some money. I don't know. I just don't think they like loved it. And like now enough time has passed that like this property has existed since 1997 or whatever, right? Like a lot of people really, really love it. I mean, that movie was made 4 years after the first book came out,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
we're talking now, by the time it comes out, is 30 years. So I hope that like people have like can take a step back and like I hope they really love it. So like what I mean by that is that they not just want to like stay true to the book and like have more space to tell the story, but it, don't just change stuff because it's easier to make a move, like to stick in there. Like,
Laziness.
like why on earth would you just make up spells that are not? The book is full of spells. It's full of incredible, crazy things. And in this time when we have to do it, we have 7 books worth of stuff, right? So there's even more stuff. So like I'm okay. Like if they say a spell that we didn't know that was never in the first book but was in other books, like who cares? Like that's fine. But you have so much space. Don't just like take shortcuts. And so my point is like I hope they actually love the source material and they see it as like the reason they want to do it is because they want to tell the same kind of story that the books tell, and they don't just skip stuff and make up things and like I just never understood that. Like why they fight the devil's snare? Why are you using a made up flashlight spell that has when you could have just been like, hey, here's blue fire? Like what?
In my former life, where I was making those Instagrams, making fun of the movies, I often would just pretend like my commentary on the post would just be pretending to be in the writer's room and trying to understand how they got from here's what the book says, here's what we should do. And the Devil's Snare is just a really good point. Like if the source material is the book, how did they just kind of wrap that into, you know what, actually guys, I was just writing down some spells the other day and I think this would be a cool one. And maybe it's just someone has like God complex, one of the writers is just like, I am now the writer of Harry Potter. I get to create new spells, which I don't think we need that.
And I don't need to dive into like every little thing. We'll do that in another episode. That's because that'll just be really fun. But like, I just think like if someone's going to do that, like, I just don't think you respect the source material. Like the story was there. Like, and again, like there's no way that they can and should stick to every little thing.
Right.
Like in every possible, that's not the point. It is a different medium. Things got to change. Totally fine with it. Like, I love Lord of the Rings movies. I've read the books. They're not the same. One thing I am excited about, this book doesn't have like a lot of the challenges that people complain about, like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, where you're like traveling super far. Like,
Yeah,
we don't have to. You don't have to like turn off your brain to be like, how did they get from, the other side of the country to there? Like, well, in Harry Potter world, there's no problems. Like, and the stories mostly takes place, one spot. Not that there's plenty of like narrative holes, plot holes, and all that stuff that we can have fun with, but
we will.
I just think like if you're gonna change something that's like the simplest thing, like hey, they're doing this cool thing, they fight this nasty plant that's gonna choke them. Well, I mean, we could just do it where it says, oh yeah, let's throw some fire at it. It hates, or we could make up a spell that's made up and not real and do that. You think you know better? No, you don't. You don't respect the books. You don't care about them. You were just, let's make a movie. They thought that looked better in a movie. Whatever.
You don't know better.
But and again, they don't have to fix that. They don't have to be 100% loyal to every little thing. I get it. But like they just clearly, I just think that's an example of like they clearly didn't like respect the source material or care about it. But now we have 30 years, windy fingers. Now we have 30 years of people of like stuff and expansion on it, and like I think it'll be much better. I think they can respect it, and I so hope that they do, and it's not just make a movie, make money, get on your way. So
I mean, I have 2 thoughts there. One is that we have so much source material now, and this goes back to your first point too, is like, are they just considering the movie source material though? It's like, well, they used that spell then, and that spell is now canon because, again, not to us, but to them. Anyways, I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. And that was like something like back to my first point. Like that was what I'm talking about. Like they have to be distinct from the movie. Like don't make Neville and Luna like each other. It's not like get the crap out of here. No, like it's not remotely important. Like, you know, like don't respect the freaking books.
It's all there.
It's
all there.
Don't just be like, we're gonna make up our own thing. It's there. I mean, and I think you have a point about I hope they do add stuff, but we'll talk about that maybe next or whatever.
The other thought I had was Lord of the Rings. This is what our third reference of this pod. Again, came out around the same time as Harry Potter. Yeah, 2001, 2002, 2003. Again, as young boys coming of age, it was absolutely incredible. And then watching those DVDs over and over again, and watching like the interviews over and over and over again, I feel like everyone there, from Peter Jackson to Ian McKellen to everybody, loved Lord of the Rings. And maybe they didn't when they started, but they all just loved Lord of the Rings. And so many times, Ian McKellen was like, yeah, I read Lord of the Rings once a year. And I have for my whole life, and I will continue to. And, when a question come up, I'd be like, why don't we turn to the book? And let's see what Tolkien said.
I know. Yep. Yeah. And I know, like, she's not as, like, the books are not as verbose as, like, Lord of the Rings. But like you said, like they actually really, really care. And like, I know not every person loves those movies and whatever reasons for the books. Like, oh, there's no Tom Bombadil. Like, well, I'm glad they skipped that. That was real boring. Like they loved them. They cared and loved about the source material. And I just don't think when they made those movies, I just flat out don't think they respected it. They're like, hey, there's a children's tale. We're going to make $1. Let's pump this out. Like, I'm not saying they hated it. They just didn't care.
They weren't 10 years old when the books came out, so they couldn't have been enamored.
And neither was this Francesca Gardner lady, probably, or the other guy. They're older a little bit. But again, I'll reserve judgment. I just hope they actually care.
Agreed. All right. Point number 2 for me. I'm
spray it.
I'm spinning my laptop again. I know it's noisy, and also for those watching on YouTube, I know it makes my face blue, but I need my notes. I'm going back to the screen time. I'm going back to how the movies were orchestrated. So we've already gone through the top 8 characters, and those are key characters. I think that's fine to be the appropriate top 8. But here is how the spread works in terms of, again, there was 1,179 minutes of screen time. Harry Potter was on that screen for 46% of that time. Almost half of the time that the movies are rolling, Harry Potter on screen. Makes sense. It's called Harry Potter. But then, from there, Ron, number 2, at 18%. Hermione.
That's a big drop.
I feel like they're always together.
They're always together, especially
it's Harry, Ron, Hermione.
He'll
miss the first 10 minutes of every movie and the last 10 minutes of every movie, and then they're together for everything. I mean, and this spread is the same in every single movie. It varies, but it's more or less the same. And so Harry has more screen time than the next 4 characters combined, and the drop off after Hermione, again, Hermione, Ron, Harry, they are the stars. It makes sense. If we did this, if we were able to do word count, by characters, it's all from Harry. Harry is 100% there, except for 5.5 chapters. So I get why this happened, but then Dumbledore drops to 6%, Hagrid 3.8%, Snape 3.6%. Nobody else is above 3. And my biggest want for the HBO show is that we drastically reduce that 46%. And yes, Harry Potter needs to be in a show called Harry Potter, but you already kind of said one of them. We're like, yeah, they do episodes all the time where, they deep dive on one character and, do that backstory, and it kind of leaves the main story. This isn't my one big dream. This is my true hope. Again, as we were thinking about this in, late 20 teens and 2020, all I wanted was more time. Just go beat for beat. It can all be Harry, but I've definitely evolved from that as we've watched some amazing shows and they've done some amazing things like Andor. How often is Andor on screen? Is he at like 25% of that show? Like Cassian, like maybe less? I don't
Yeah.
know. And that's an amazing show. He's an amazing character, but I don't have to look at Cassian's face all the time. And what I really don't need is 3 11-year-olds on the screen for 80% of the movie, and then the adults who are great and complex and great actors get a combined less than 10%. I really just don't need 10 hours of this new Harry Potter all the time. I really, really don't want that.
That's interesting. I was thinking like while you're saying that, I wonder what the breakdown is on like Stranger Things, right? Because that's a show.
It's a great example.
Is about kids, but it's not all the kids. And like the number one, they got good actors in that show. Like the kids were all good actors. Like it worked, right? And there are and there are kids that, and I hope, and like I'm sure these kids are good actors, but they're still 10, 11 years old or whatever, right? So you have to grow with that. Like, because even though it is a children's book, it, in some ways, I mean, what is it? Like, Star Wars is a children's, that's who likes, that's one of the biggest things that like George Lucas knew is like kids drive things. That's George Lucas foresaw that. And I know I'm talking about Star Wars randomly, but like kids,
it's where parents spend money.
It's where parents spend money. It's what drives interest in culture. It's like kids drive a lot of the stuff. And so if you're so kids should enjoy this show, but you're right. Like it can't just be a bunch of 11-year-olds because that's not gonna create the best narrative show that like a rounded audience can enjoy the same. And there's so much to tell, right? Like, I know you've mentioned like Quirrell, like there's a lot to show there, to develop that character. Snape, Quirrell, their relationship, all sorts of stuff.
What Dumbledore's doing, again, like Hogwarts Legacy gave us kind of a new view of life at Hogwarts. Like, show me life at Hogwarts. Show me. I don't want all three of mine are all very similar, so I don't want to go too much further. I'll jump further into my third one, but yeah, show me life at Hogwarts that I've never seen before. Show me the teacher's lounge. Show me what we don't. When's the first time we get to Dumbledore's office? That's not till book 2. Do we even make it? Yeah, book 2 when Harry's accused of being the. Oh, we got a dog, Remus.
That's Remus. Remus the dog.
Very good.
Remus
Anyways, show us. Ooh, scary. But anyways, show us. We don't. I just can't watch 10 hours of another kid. Maybe he's the greatest actor in the world, and I hope he is for his sake and for my sake and for the world's sake. But I can't watch it again. I can expound, but that's like, really what my third one is.
Yeah, like it has to. Obviously, he should and probably will lead screen time, but also like you're talking about here, like how many total minutes were all the movies? 1,000, 1,100, right? Give or take a few minutes, right?
Yeah.
All 8 movies were like 1,100 minutes. One season is roughly going to be 500 to 600, like you said. 550 is like an average, right? So like he might be less of the characters might be a less percentage. Like Harry Potter might be less than 46% of total screen time, but he will get more total screen time than before, which is right? Also so exciting. Like maybe it'll be 35% or something, right? Or 30% or whatever it is, I don't know. But
right,
it will really allow the development of the entire story and all the characters, which is the whole point of having a show where you can follow the books. And I think that's a great point.
I'll just finish. I didn't put that much thought into it, but I put my optimum screen time together, and this will.
Oh yeah, share.
Bury the lead a little bit of my third one, but here's my lead. I put Quirrell at 20%, which I know won't happen, but that's where I want to spend my time. I put Dumbledore at 12%, Snape 10%, Harry 8%, Ron Hermione 6%. I put Vernon Dursley pretty high, but I guess we're spending a lot of time with Vernon. 5%, Malfoy 5%, Hagrid 4%, McGonagall 3%, everyone else 21% in terms of total share to get to that's out of 100%. Doesn't totally make sense, but I could show you the math that
I
I
was
did.
thinking about what you're saying here. So about this. So the first episode should be like the first chapter. That's it. Right?
Vernon Dursley is the first. Yeah, we follow Vernon's life. Again, there's shows that do this all the time. Silo, such a great example. The first episode is with a character who we don't see again. Spoiler for Silo. But I didn't say why we don't see them again, so not a real spoiler. Like,
yeah,
that was
really
so good.
That was good. That was, yeah.
The Last of Us, we follow a character in the first episode that we don't see again. And it's amazing. Like, we don't have to just latch on to our hero immediately. Be smart, give us time.
But that's the whole point. Like, they don't have to like boom, 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 go, 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 because they got time. So like, I can't imagine like chapter 1, The Boy Who Lived, is one of the best chapters, but like there's so much that you could do an entire 45-minute episode on that.
Show me life in Britain in 1991 and why these people hate magic. I would just love to see that.
Yeah. Would you be cool if like they did, do you think like they can do stuff where like, you know, there's all these parties and stuff going down and people raising their glasses across the country, like to Harry Potter, The Boy Who Lived, like they can like show that stuff. So like stuff that is mentioned in passing, you can spend 4 minutes, like, you know, showing what's actually happening at parties across the country. You could show Hagrid, if you really want, picking up Harry from the house.
That is one of my bullet points. Is do you want to try to capture the timeline anomaly?
Which they shouldn't. They shouldn't do. Well, they can't show Sirius Black because there's no point in casting him this early and then being like, "Is that who we actually want?" Like, you know, by the time they're making that season, there's no reason to cast Sirius Black this early. Don't paint yourself in a corner. I guess they can always recast. It's not that big a deal. They did it with Voldemort.
True. They did it with Aunt Viv, and it was great.
Yeah, Aunt Viv, classic. Yeah, so I get that, and I think that'll be good. Like it. So what your total percent? What was the percent you said for Harry Potter to be on there?
8%, which I know is too low. And
8%.
So, but I need to change. Hold on, because the okay, there's not complicated math here, but there's a little bit of math here where he's on screen for 45% of his available screen time. Again, there's 1,100 minutes. He's on screen for 45 minutes. But then if you take all available minutes, and you sum to 100, so how many each character added up equals 100. So he has 30% of the share. So really, I'm taking him from 30% to 8%. So it's not quite as drastic. But again, if all the characters made one whole pie of the 1,100 minutes, he's 30% of it, and I'm taking him to 8. So I know that won't happen, but that's where I'm at.
Right. But the theory is there, right? Yeah. So that makes sense. So that my last one was more or less like in line with this. So like there's space for character development. And I was talking to my wife about this, and she's like, "What are y'all going to do?" And I was like, "Well, this is kind of what we're doing." And I asked her, I was like, "What do you think?" And she actually gave me this idea. It's kind of what I latched onto. It's about just extra time with all these important people. Like she mentioned, like Ron's kind of a dummy in the movies. Like they're very 2-dimensional, and that's not like because they're bad actors or whatever. It's just the medium that they're telling
That's how he was written. He was just written to look at Harry with a silly face, and that's all he was supposed to do.
Yeah, and they changed they had to use like shorthand, I guess. Like that's why it says like bloody hell, right? Like, but that's not something that's ever said in the book. Which is like, I'm not saying like that's like the problem with the movie, that whatever. But like they make him like the funny friend, and Ron is the funny friend. Ron is very funny.
He is.
But they have to shrink that down to like one-liners, like bloody hell, you know, like, and like now they can expand that and be like, no, he's funny because, you know,
because he drops F-bombs.
Because he drops F-bombs. Later on, they'll do unsaid.
I was about to say, I have it as a trivia question yet, but I wanted to be a trivia question of name like 5 occasions where Ron swears, and They could put anything they want in there. Just mother effers all over the place, you know?
I mean, Britain, it's kind of like when you watch Ted Lasso, like if they just stop swearing and be like, you're not even British. It's like
You're
if
not
you
even
watch,
breathing.
yeah, it's like British people just curse fluently. You know, they don't need to. It's fine because it's a family show allegedly, right? But so it reminds me of like Good Will Hunting or like like a Boston accent. Like if you're speaking in a Boston accent, like and you're not cursing, like I don't know, what are you doing?
You say F words.
Right. It's British people are different, built different. But yeah, so they can expand on that. So like Ron was broken down. He was flattened to a character who just said dumb things. He was, same with Hermione. Hermione was like, I know there's a whole generation of people that love Hermione, and Emma Watson's a big star. She, all this stuff, like, and she's the one who kind of like popped the most of like that show, of the movie. But like, there's a lot more to offer than just being, one-liners and stuff. Fred and George, right? Fred and George, I mean, what is their percent in your breakdown there? Fred and George like show up, they say like one thing, and then they're gone. And that's just I'm not saying that's like a failing of the movie. That's a feature, not a bug, right? But like Fred and George are like the most incredible characters, and they're pretty well rounded. And yeah, they pop in and out. They're not main characters, but there are so much to do with developing these people.
Do you think this is correct? I mean, my data is infallible, but George Weasley has 19 minutes of screen time, but Fred only has, I guess it's because he's dead, 18.3. Spoiler.
I should make him get more screen time because you're looking at his dead body.
I guess like George in the background afterwards. I don't know, but he's got a couple more seconds than him. But yeah, they're still top. They're top 14 characters, but they have 20 minutes of 18 minutes of screen time.
Like think about
eight movies.
Like Fred and George, like the subtext that you get is that like they're freaking players,
sexually
man.
active.
Like, they're like they're out there. They are.
The first thing I wrote down
like,
for my
hey, there's
pipe
a chick at the shop in town. She thinks my magic tricks are sweet.
Some of them are almost good enough to be real.
Yeah, like they're like very cool dudes. Same with like even like Bill and I mean Charlie's not even in the movies at all, right? Like that's whatever. But there's so much time to spend. So like, and I think it's most exciting personally. And I'll credit my wife Brianna for this. Like, I think it's most exciting for like Ron and Hermione because they are so important and so interesting. And by the time the 7th book comes around, obviously like it really pays off, like, especially with Ron, like his character journey and like learning his faults and what makes him tick and like how Hermione is, all this stuff. There's a lot to learn to do there. And I really am excited. And I hope that they can, specifically most important, really, like you said at the beginning, like, I mean, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are like always rolling together. Like, yeah, they get in fights. One goes off and like blah, blah, blah. They make up. But that's why it was funny when you reread the first book, you're like, man, Hermione, like they're not even friends with Hermione yet. Like, and then they become friends with Hermione and everything's way better.
All true. My first pipe dream, I since erased it, but my first pipe dream was that Fred and George used the room of requirement to get freaky with some other 7th years. And I since erased it, but that was my first pipe dream.
That's your first pipe dream? Yeah.
I'm saying after they've discovered it, in their... I guess they didn't really have time, right? They discovered it in their 7th year. Thank goodness. Otherwise, who knows what they would have done.
Yeah, that.
But 7th year, they definitely used it.
They definitely used it.
I mean, the day after, like probably the night of the first Dumbledore's army training, they went back.
They're like, what's Angelina up to? I don't know.
Tag team off the ropes.
That would be incredible. I would love just, I mean, I hope they do. I'm not like against them like creating new things necessarily, right? Like there's so much there that like you by default you can't create too much new, but I think they can shine light on some interesting things and like expand on stuff that works well for the medium of television, right? So why not?
They could be. They
Why
could
not?
be an HBO show. Exactly.
Yeah,
All right.
my dream.
Well, let me do my third one. Let me do my.
Oh,
third
your
one.
third one. Yeah. I was like, wait. You didn't do a third one, but you said your dream is to watch Fred and
No,
George
that
get
was-
freaky in the room of requirement.
That was my. I'm not trying to do this. That was when I do stuff like that. You know, I'm mailing it in, and we need to stop the podcast. So, I can put in more effort than that. No, my third thing we've really already talked about. But I'm going to frame it a little bit differently because we have talked about show me things I haven't seen before, right? I feel like I hadn't thought of that, of like the Harry Potter parties going around the world, like how we need some emotion there. I want to be crying during that part. Set me up to feel something. That's exciting. But my third thing, I'll frame it around. I hope this isn't a pipe dream. I hope they kind of go this way, but like, I feel like everyone who's watching this is going to know the story of Harry Potter. Everyone who's watching this has watched the movie or read the book, and if they haven't, I guess that's cool. You can still make a great show, but I don't want the surprise to be that Quirrell is the bad guy. Like, if you're setting it up like, oh, what's Quirrell doing? What's under that turban? I don't know. I don't know. Like, I will be disappointed. Where it's just like
kind of like
I already
how
know what's
like
going to happen.
yeah, like kind of like in superhero movie, like in Superman, it's not an origin story, right? Same thing with the Fantastic Four come out soon. Like, not an origin story. We don't need to see Spider-Man get bit by the spider. They do obviously tell the story as it is. They're going to, and they should. But I know what you mean, right? That makes sense.
This isn't a prequel, so it's not fair to again bring up Andor and be like the surprise. Like they showed us some Death Star stuff, and that was cool, but that wasn't what we were really building to, right? We already, I don't know. It's not a good example, but to me, that's my frame of reference, and like this goes back to like Quirrell being 20% of the screen time. Like, I want to watch Quirrell. I want to watch Quirrell go to Albania. I want to watch him travel the world and meet Voldemort for the first time. Like, I want to watch Quirrell, and this goes definitely into some of the things you said. I want to watch Quirrell like go get a mountain troll. I want to watch Quirrell go get a dragon's egg, and then watch the whole scene of him tricking Hagrid, and see just how awesome and skilled he is. I want to see Snape and Dumbledore talking and being like, "Hey, I think Quirrell's bad. You should follow him," and make that more of a conversation. Make that like, again, that's a good way to get Dumbledore screen time on there. Like
that's true, because like
doing
Dumbledore's
stuff.
not in the book at all. Like in the first book, he's not in the first book. He's just like the figure out in the distance who's like the mythical, god among them, pretty much.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. I mean, like, but that's the thing is like, it would I don't know, 5 minutes of like showing of Quirrell, like traveling the world would like, it doesn't need to be a 45-minute episode of only Quirrell necessarily. But if you
Which,
spent
to be clear,
6
is
minutes,
what I want, but you're right. Keep going.
yeah, but you could spend 6 minutes like developing that and it would pay off.
Yes.
Greatly.
Yes.
Right. Like it would,
I mean, a 45-minute episode of like the spooky things happening in Albania and like rumors, and then this poor like up and coming wizard coming to visit. Like, how
like
freaking amazing!
I'm imagining him like hearing a voice in the woods and seeing like dead animals and stuff like that. Voldemort possessed.
It could be horror. Make it a horror movie. This is HBO, okay? Make it adult.
And then like a talking snake shows up because he prefers snakes.
Tell me the whole world wouldn't be captivated by this. If you've seen the movies, if you haven't, you would love what you're watching. It would be amazing. You'd be rooting for, I don't know, make Quirrell the main character. I'm trying to think of a good show that does that. Like, I don't know, Succession. That's not a good example. But like, there's no good guys in Succession. We're all just rooting for the bad guys. I'm okay with that.
That would be something. I'm on board. That would be great. I mean, I think they'll have a lot of time because, like I said, if I mean, it should take like a whole episode or dang near, right? Should be just Harry in Diagon Alley, right? But
Yeah.
they meet Quirrell there. Um, and then like at the beginning of like another episode, you could do a flashback of like, this is Quirrell, like, hey, 6 months earlier, this was
Right.
Quirrell like traveling. He's like, he had
Right.
accepted the job. He was going to be he was doing his trip before he starts at Hogwarts the next fall, and he's gonna
Yeah.
do all
Even
that.
if
That would be good.
I could see that. Even if they do act like it's suspenseful, like is it Snape? Is it Quirrell? And then they reveal that it's Quirrell, like on episode 8, and then episode 9 is just a full flashback. That I could accept too, or the first 20 minutes is right, and then we go back to the Mirror of Erised in the final chamber. Like I would also
I
accept
think
that.
it's interesting too because when you go back and read and like part of it's hindsight's 2020. Like when I was an 11-year-old, like I was like, yeah, Snape's a bad guy, right? But part of the interesting thing about the books is that like obviously they grow with the characters. So like when the first book is Harry is an 11-year-old. It's from his point of view. They have a very narrow understanding of the world. They're very naive. They're kids. They're 11-year-old. That's one of the reasons it's
Right.
interesting, right? It's definitely worth your time and it's awesome, but they are they have a simplified understanding of how the world works, and they don't notice things that if they were 17, they would know something's not up, something's wrong with Quirrell. Like, based on their experiences of in their life of that far, they would notice different things, right? So I think it's okay to not, like you said, that's not like it can be a big reveal to the kids, but it doesn't
Right.
have to be the reveal to the audience.
Yes. Show Quirrell
Right.
almost getting caught all the time. That would be suspenseful. You're still building suspense. There's still mystery for the characters, but we see how Quirrell just barely, I don't know, gets away from being caught with the troll or barely gets away from Fluffy and Snape. Like, show us that. It'd be so fun.
Yeah.
So-
Murdering unicorns.
Yeah, true. I want to see a dagger.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like you
Slit a
said,
throat.
it is a children's tale, right? But like this goes back to one of my things about what I hope is that Harry Potter has a very dark sense of humor. The books in general, like death and getting maimed and destruction and like lifelong altering and like getting having your permanent alterations to like your face and like he's had those horns for a while now. Like that stuff's just like part of the wizard world. Like, like my mom died from a spell explosion. Like
Right.
that's pretty normal. My uncle was dangling me out a window and then I fell down and I bounced on the highway. Like it bounced to the end of the driveway. Like it's dark, but that's the funny part about it.
Right.
Right. So like
They do.
the wizard
do a
world,
great job.
It's kind of like the wizard world's not our world. Like it is, but like they have a different set of morals and standards. So like dark stuff can be funny. Like I don't know.
They do such a good job of that on binge mode that you and I both listened to and loved, where they talk about like they talk about in the fourth book when the Weasleys come and blow up the Dursleys' home.
Yeah,
And-
it's like someone dropped a bomb in their fireplace.
and that's funny. It's funny for the readers. This is a good time. It's like, oh, this is hilarious. I can't believe this is happening. And then you actually think about what's happening to the Dursleys, whose other interactions with magic are their son getting a tail and blowing up their aunt and a flying car, taking their wrongfully imprisoned nephew away. And like this is their
Or
fourth
just the
interaction
fact
with
that like
magic.
they literally force a child to sleep in a cupboard under the stairs. I have a cupboard under my stairs. We call it Harry Potter's bedroom, right?
My bathroom's right there, and yeah, we call it Harry's bathroom. Exactly, it's under the stairs, and a tall person can't pee standing up.
Right. Like there's something like obviously, and this is like it's one of those things where like, yeah, like it's obviously it's so horrible. That's the funny part about it. Like it's played like it's funny and it's silly because it's that horrible that they're abusing a child. But like, it reminds me of like the one opening of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they're like singing the Backstreet Boys And like, that's the guy. That's the one who murdered my brother.
I remember that open.
Like, it's so dark, but like, that's pretty funny. And
that is hilarious.
I think that's one of the things I hope they can kind of capture with this is that like, they live in the wizard world is cruel and mean and funny because people die and terrible things happen and people don't really think twice about it. They're just like, all right, well, my uncle, like, a book that if you start reading, you can't stop. Like, well, that, my uncle, he saw Grimm and died 2 days later.
This is a good counter to people always making fun of, and it's a valid point to make fun of like, there's no safer place than Hogwarts, and then they just list all the deaths and all of the horrible creatures there. But like,
right?
No,
the death toll was too high at the Triwizard Tournament, and they don't even blink about that. Like, imagine if like the SEC canceled football for 100 years because like the death toll at Tiger Stadium was too high.
The CTE toll was too high.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it would be like that. It'd be like, man, I know, right? It'd be like, man, like people really like college football, but yeah, like the death toll, it got out of control. It kind of had to stop.
Fair points.
Like, I don't know.
Tell me your hope and dream.
My hope and dream, I kept it pretty simple. It's a Marauders spinoff. That's my hope and dream. That should be number one. Go back to your thing about like the dedication. Like whenever they get to that in the, a decade from now, I really hope that's like, we got to see full flashbacks. We need like 2 episodes dedicated to them. But my dream would be a Marauder spinoff because I think there would be so much cool stuff to tell in that, kind of like how like Star Wars has taken stuff like Andor and expanded it, right? Like, I think that would be really, really interesting to tell a story about the Marauders, like how, like Peter Pettigrew didn't like wake up one day and decide to betray them, right?
He's in Gryffindor, dang it.
He was in Gryffindor. He was their best friend, right? But like if you had a show about them in their like starting from when they like become animagus, right, and they start getting real wild on Hogwarts campus, talk about people who would have done some crazy stuff, like
true,
like they could find
Shrieking
wizard drugs
Shack
and all sorts of stuff. Like there's got to be some cool drugs they can take.
I feel like there were multiple voices coming from the Shrieking Shack. Maybe there were female voices as well.
Maybe so, right? I don't know what they're all. Sirius could be into a lot of things.
True.
Sirius would have a lot of lady friends.
Any
but
friends.
Like
all gender,
I think he's hot as hot. But like, imagine like telling the story of like, basically like you can see these little things that happen that are, hey, like the world's like, while they're in school, the world is like starting to catch fire, right? Like things are crazy happening.
True.
The world's starting to catch fire. People are getting radicalized. Like you could be like, what's going on in the Slytherin common room? What, like, who are the people Snape's talking to, and like what's causing him? Like Snape joins as a Death Eater. Like they're all super young. That's what people like. You also forget that like this is all happens like they're very young when they have Harry and when they do. So like imagine like the story of like, hey, these little things have happened to Pettigrew, so that way when he betrays them, ultimately like it makes sense, not because like it's good, but because like you can see like he got scared and more scared, and he's a complete coward, and maybe he had a couple conversations with people at school that his friends didn't know about. He met some people and like,
you sound like we're at church in a Sunday school lesson right now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't teach Sunday school. I teach 4-year-olds. But I think that would be the most incredible thing. A Marauder spinoff. I think it's really freeing too, because there's no source material.
There's like 4 points you have to hit. They need to become animagus. They need to fall in love, or James and Lily, and Peter needs to become bad. That's really all you got to follow.
Mm-hmm. That would be the coolest thing. I would kill for it. It'll never happen.
You don't think it'll ever happen? I feel like it'll happen. To your point, a decade from now, 2 decades from now,
if this show's a hit,
it'll be a hit. It'll be a hit.
It'll be. I mean, I think seeing again. I think, yeah, I don't know, but Fantastic Beasts. We can talk about that another day. It's a whole nother thing. But or a show about freaking Grindelwald and Dumbledore's love affair. That would be fantastic to learn about their plans.
Are they making another Fantastic Beasts? They just like cancel it because it sucks?
No, it's like people say it's pretty much dead and done.
That's so disappointing. Holy crap!
I know, because think about like, I want to see Grindelwald and Dumbledore fight. I want to see their.
That's what we were building to
in 1945.
Those were by far the best parts of those not that great movies. The movies are fine, but like when Dumbledore fights,
I was just interested in the story.
And just destroys him, like
in the
Credence when he does magic that we can't even like fantasize about. I'm just like, let's watch Grindelwald and Dumbledore do that for an hour. I'm in. Like, make this a Marvel movie where the last 45 minutes is just a fight. That's actually what I want. I don't want that really in a Marvel movie. I do want it in a young Dumbledore movie.
The big CGI fight at the end.
Yes, give me that.
Think of the giant crocodile and Moon Knight.
So bad.
Oh,
still a good show. You directly chose the same thing that I did, but I got way more over aggressive with it and said, here's my pipe dream. Here's my pipe dream. Episode 1 of season 1. And at this point, they've already cast
over 4 episodes, and then we don't meet Harry until the last episode. And then season 2, that's when things start.
Exactly. That's actually exactly. Episode 1, again, we've cast every single character for this entire show. Is Snape overhearing a prophecy? Episode 2 is just a happy life in Godric's Hollow. We just get to spend time with the Potters, and Sirius and Lupin and Peter are all revolving.
Like while they're under house arrest, really? Like they're just kind of under house arrest, hanging out, and cute little Harry's riding the broomstick Sirius gave him.
And they're starting to get suspicious of who the mole is. Like there's chatter, and we're trying to piece it together. And then episode 3, Peter goes to Voldemort and says, I have the Potters. And then episode 4 is the actual murder. And then Snape, and then Sirius chasing down Pettigrew, and then episode 5, we could start the actual story. That was my pipe.
They will probably show that at least in book 3, in the 3rd.
Right. Go back to Sirius.
Once
they, to your point, once they actually cast Sirius. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't paint yourself into a corner yet that quickly. That would be awesome. I do like the idea of Godric's Hollow, life in Godric's Hollow. Maybe like you'd see Dumbledore talking to him, and like James, like, yeah, it's my invisibility cloak. Like, oh,
dun dun dun. And then the next episode after that is a flashback of him and Grindelwald just learning about the Deathly Hallows. And then the flashback after that,
Dumbledore's Summer of Love. Exactly. Sad ending.
Very true.
That would be good.
We have the same dream, so
yeah. I'm very excited for the show. There's a lot there, and I wanted to mention. I don't know. I guess the one thing we didn't really address is like these people they all cast, right? Like they've cast all the people, and really briefly just to like throw that out there. Like a lot of them, like those kids, they seem fine. They're kids. I don't know. Like why the heck not? We've joked the only thing we don't understand about Snape is that not that he's black, it's just that he's like a handsome dude. I don't really see the vibe, but
Lily's gonna fall for that guy.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's like good looking. He doesn't look like a gross like emo
sniveling dark arts loser.
Yeah, bookworm who's up to his ears in the dark arts, and wouldn't talk to a girl if one looked him in the face. Like, I don't know. I don't really understand that, but whatever. I'm sure they'll do fine. Because again, it's not really important. Like we are like book purists, but it's not because like he has to look a certain way, or it's like, do you actually care about the books? Like they act a certain way, they have reasons why they act certain ways. Like we need to understand that stuff.
We need a character, not
so.
Yeah,
not just these flat 2-dimensional portrayals of stuff. And interestingly, the only thing I wanted to say is the most interesting thing to me is like casting John Lithgow. Not British. He's American. He's played Brits before, and he's an incredible actor and all that. But like, he's
played some of the most famous Brits.
Yeah, Churchill, right? He's done a Churchill.
And now Dumbledore, which
a million people have done Churchill.
Well, Churchill and Dumbledore are probably the two most powerful Brits of all time. So,
yeah, Shakespeare. You know, there's a few notable Brits, I guess. Losers of a Revolutionary War. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I'm reading a George Washington Chernow book right now. Yeah, so I'm super excited. That one just stood to me as like kind of weird. Like, I don't know, he's American. They were very anti-American when they first made the movies. Like, people wanted to cast like Haley Joel Osment and like make it like. At least they kept that off. But I hope they love it. I hope they care about the source material, and I'm very excited for what they can do.
I feel like I wanted to like assign us some homework to like pick a couple actors and then like scroll through their IMDb's and like find some movies where we think that it would be good inspiration for their characters. And I feel like John Lithgow, I feel like I'm excited for him. We spent too long on this already. I thought this would take like 40 minutes and we're at an hour 10, but yeah, I'm excited for him. I think he's going to do great, but
heck yeah.
Shall we move to our segments? We're finished with our big idea?
We're never truly finished, Scott, but let's move on.
Let's do it.
Because this is just what we do anyway.
Exactly.
Frankly, we could talk about this for 4 hours.
Sorry, Cassie. I think we can keep this under 90, but we'll see. We'll see what the next segments bring. So, next segment is Where in the World is Ultimate Harry Potter Trivia? This podcast is brought to you by the much-needed book-only Ultimate Harry Potter Trivia game, a game that I invented. Invent is a strong word. A game that I created in the hopes of stumping William and his.
It did not exist, and now it exists. You invented it.
Yeah, that's what copyright says.
I got prototypes.
I forgot about those prototypes. Here's the real prototype.
They freaking rule.
If you're watching this or listening, they are available for sale at ultimateharrypottertrivia.com. Come check it out. So this doesn't really make sense because I just said that they're available for sale, but really right now as I'm recording this, they are being moved to the docks in China and will soon be getting on a ship. So I got a picture today of 2 gigantic pallets of games, and our plan is to keep those games just here in our house, and our house is very small, and I'm concerned.
Fit that in your garage?
Well, Cassie says I can't keep them in the garage because it's too hot. And she's like, if you do that, you're going to have to like make this a real space. You're going to have to get a dehumidifier, blah, blah, blah. And just things I am incapable of. So she's like, you can't keep it in the garage.
You got to get a mini split. Coolie garage.
I know.
Get a storage unit. Get a storage unit.
That's what she wants to do. I just want to put them all throughout the house and just have a hilarious, just boxes everywhere.
Yeah,
but
that's better for content. She just doesn't know. You're good.
It'll be, she's prepping for the content, but I feel like we're going to like stack them everywhere and be like, great, we stacked 500 games in this house and now there's 500 more. And
I got space. Send some to me. I'm in the middle of the country. Good distribution.
I could get maybe
I got a third garage.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, look, it'll go halfway. San Antonio's halfway to North Carolina. Just drop one pallet off. If I did that, imagine there's a pallet in our driveway. William, what is that? I'm renting my third garage to Scott for $10 a month.
I'll pay you in podcast invitations.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's an update on Where in the World is Ultimate Harry Potter. Now, I'll try to move quickly through this, but there's a little backstory I have to provide here on this. This segment is called "I Think the Internet" or maybe J.K. Rowling. is wrong. And these are two different categories. I'm kind of combining these into one because there's lots of things we talked about. I'm not going to spoil them now. I think we should save these for future pods of like, this doesn't make sense in the books. And these aren't like plot holes that like a lot of people talk about. I feel like there's smaller stuff that's just like, this doesn't actually fit. And we'll talk about those later. This is one of them that I didn't fully grasp until I kind of did this research. So, William, without just kind of off the dome, you can spend a little bit of time thinking about it. And I've asked this question before. And the question is, how many years did the Defense Against the Dark Arts curse that Voldemort put on the position? How long was that period of time? And it's undefined, to be clear. So you're using context clues to say what you believe the answer should be. And I'm going to go through what the internet believes and what J.K. Rowling is implying and really describe how that's impossible.
So how long was the Defense Against the Dark Arts curse? So it happens when... That's one of my favorite chapters, by the way. Dumbledore just alphas the heck out of...
It's like 4 pages
Voldemort.
long. It's one of the best 4 pages. It's not the last 100 pages of book 7 in the entire books. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, like realistically, it's probably going to be like 20 plus years. Right? I don't know. There's not really a way to like nail it down specifically.
Right.
But with context, like it's in the range of like, I don't know, 25 plus years, right? Like it's going to be when it's not even necessarily the same year that Dumbledore becomes headmaster. They don't...
Correct, which is key here,
They don't specify that. It's like, I heard you become a worthy choice. It's like, I do think so, and they have that thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, so are you looking at you when we throw out a date? Like, I don't know, 1972, right? It's like 25 years or so is like the idea of that. And in 19, well, we know it broke in 98, right? That would be
correct.
100%. It is now broken when he's dead.
Correct. It broke in 98. We know when Voldemort went to school, even without what J.K. Rowling has written outside of the Harry Potter books. In the Harry Potter books, we know that he was at school 50 years before Harry in his 5th year when Harry was in his 2nd year. So that is a well-defined time period, again, just from the books, even without Pottermore or Wizarding World or anything else.
How could anyone not believe the job is cursed if they had 25 different teachers?
That was one of the things I had on the HBO thing. I was like, can the first episode be show me all 20? That's when I started this, because that is when I started this research, because I wanted to say, show me all 20 blank, and then I wanted to know what kind of the world believed on how long is this curse? I was like, show me all 25 teachers. Just show me like a rapid fire, like how each of them lost the job. Spend 5 minutes doing that. I think it'd be incredible. And then it ends on Quirrell. And then Quirrell is like a young guy going to Albania. And again, that's just my whole third take again. But show me the 20, 25.
And is Quirrell the only one who died? Harry kind of says so when he's talking to Slughorn. But again, Harry doesn't know jack squat.
No, these guys, they're all idiots. No one knows anything about Hogwarts. Ron doesn't even know that a sorting hat is how he gets into his houses.
I know. This is my thing. And one day we're going to talk about why the history of magic is the most important subject. And all of this could be avoided with one good history of magic teacher. We'll move on.
That was one of my favorite conversations we've ever had. So if you Google this, Google AI says the curse lasted about 50 years. Grok, run by our boy Elon, says it lasts about 40 years. And then
ask Claude. I gotta ask Claude.
Yeah.
Gotta get every AI's got to say. Yeah. Go ahead, keep going.
And then the Harry Potter fandom, which it is a big source of truth. I mean, it can be wrong, but it is like the number one. It's what Google pulls up when you ask a question, and that's what it references. HarryPotter.fandom.com says 27 years. And I'm just going to go through quickly what HarryPotterFandom.com believes as their point of truth of why it's only 27 years and not 40 to 50 as AI believes.
Claude's a moron. I'll have to check ChatGPT too, I guess. But yeah, this is like 1945 when Voldemort was rejected for the position. but that's not when. It's clearly not when he was
It's
projected.
not even close.
Position.
You're not even trying. That's embarrassing. Okay, so right, the text that we get is that Voldemort went to go work for Borgin and Burkes for some period of time, and that's the undefined time. He graduates. We know exactly when he graduates, 1944, 1945.
Yeah. The biggest undefined time is going to be his time after that. He just kind of disappears.
But it's not, though, because what Dumbledore says is that he says, and I quote, "This memory is 10 years separates Hokey's memory from this one." And then he shows Dumbledore coming back. That's a defined period of time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It is 10 years after he's done working at Borgin and Burkes. Well, again, he quits sometime after. And then it's just 10 years. That is a defined period of time. So then the only question is, how long did he work at Borgin and Burkes? And
like logically, you'd say, I don't know, 2 or 3. And then
exactly, like guaranteed to me less than
5.
Guaranteed.
Like yeah, it's got to be like 2 to 3. So say he worked for 2 years. So that's 12 years.
If he worked for 2 years, yes,
that would be
then the curse is 41 years.
1957.
Yes,
Jeez.
Exactly. Then the curse is 41 years old, which is what Grok is saying. And that makes a lot more sense to me. Of course, it's unbelievable that 41 straight teachers would just not have a job the next year and that anyone would keep applying to the job. But what harrypotter.fandom.com believes is firm evidence that that's not the case is what Lupin says. Lupin, they believe that that Dumbledore could not have been headmaster before 1965 because Lupin gets bit by a werewolf, and we know that Lupin is the same age as James Potter, and that James Potter was born in 1960. And so Lupin was bit when he was 5 years old, 1965, and his words are, "But then Dumbledore became headmaster, and he was sympathetic towards me, and I was able to go to school," which surely
could have been when he was. It could have been when he was like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Correct.
It's just before he was school age.
Correct. That gives us really a 6-year time period of when that could have happened. But what that means is that that the minimum amount of time that Voldemort worked at Borgin and Burkes is 16 years, which is absolutely impossible. That is completely there's no possible way. What the greatest wizard of all time, 16 years.
He would be so bored. He would just kill people out of boredom at that point. He'd be like, I have to murder you all. Like, I got stuff to do.
16 years. I suppose he could have been like barely working and just been mostly Voldemort. But again, what we get from Hokey's memory is like, he's still a lot of Tom Riddle. He's not full Voldemort. That really happens in those 10 years. And
it could be a little longer than we're thinking. Cause like they do talk about how he looks older. Like Harry's talking about like his cheeks are hollowed out more, but it suited him. Right. And like, he's even more handsome. Still a smoke show. So yeah, but like, I always read that as like, I mean, but also like when kids graduate Hogwarts, they're like 18. Like they're, like the difference between like a 17-year-old and a 21-year-old can be pretty big for a lot of people. Like,
True.
That you come into yourself quite you've left adolescence completely. Like you're good. People change, kind of. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. That would be, it would be, it's one of those things that like there's just no way, like that one line, she wrote that one line, 10 years separate, right? Just didn't think it through. Just didn't think it through. And that's fine. Who cares? It doesn't matter at all, but it is fun to talk about.
This doesn't make me love the books any less. And I feel like people bring stuff up like this to be like, this is why these books suck. And I never bring it up.
I think if you think that, you missed the point. I don't know. Like, I mean, there's also, man, we get into Tolkien and like all this stuff, but there is so much stuff that you can like poke holes and complain about anything.
To me, yes. To me,
but
it's
also
fun
this
to
is,
do this.
but when people change stuff, then people hate it too. Because like George Lucas is constantly changing stuff, and people hate that. So, Erase the
For me,
sequels. Reboot it.
I have fun digging into stuff like this. I don't do this from a place of
Absolutely.
mistrust. I was like, I really want to know, and to me, it's interesting that there's so many different sources out there, and I just can't believe that Voldemort worked.
Think
there
about how
for
important it
16
is
years.
that like so much of what we know about the timeline is literally from Nearly Headless Nick's death day.
Yeah, that's very true.
Because like when they talk about Dumbledore defeating Grindelwald in 1945, that's without any context. Like you know, like it was 1945. You're like,
Dumbledore
okay,
could've been 6.
that's a year. Maybe was he 20? Was he 100? Like you don't know. And then eventually you learn more and piece together stuff. But also I like that she if you get bogged down in the details of the book, you kind of lose the whole narrative structure, the story of like, you know, the entertainment of it. Like I assume this is kind of more of like something that someone like George R.R. Martin would like get completely bogged down in every little detail. But that's the reason I'm not a huge fan of like, you'll never catch me reading Sanderson or Wheel of Time or Pass. It's probably great, but
I'm on book 9 of Wheel of Time right now.
Yeah. But you're a different kind of nerd than I am.
I have learned that, I mean, I started this journey because like my real nerd friends were like, oh, if you like fantasy, you will like this. And I've learned that, no, I actually don't like this. It has taken me 5 years to do 8 books, but I've rededicated myself, and I'm going to finish them quickly. I'm flying through book 9 right now. But anyways, yeah. So that's my, I think the internet / J.K. Rowling is wrong. Yeah, and now
50 years. You'd be an idiot to take the job.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Maybe that's why. I mean, for our time at Hogwarts for Defense Against the Dark Arts, like we kind of, right, we believe that he knew what Lockhart was up to. Like he obviously was throwing Lupin a huge bone. Mad Eye's insane. Umbridge was forced. He couldn't find anybody.
I mean, he was just doing anything he could. He was just like, I got to get anyone.
I feel like maybe he knew, right? We kind of get lots of hints that he knew what Quirrell was up to. So like,
you think if he changed the name, it's like, this is protection against the dark arts. Now it's safe. Offensive magic. Let's call it that or something.
All right. It's time for another session of Fred or George.
Fred or George. I wish
there
we
were
had
a couple
theme music for it.
We could get theme music for it. Ask and you shall receive.
Flash a picture of my twins on the screen.
Cool. Do you want their faces out there? Millions are going to see this.
It's true, but no.
There were a couple other Fred and George interactions before this, but, well, tell me if you think this one's too hard. I mean, well, I guess we'll know if you get it right. A bludger decided to come pelting his way, more like a cannonball than anything, but Harry dodged it, and Blank Weasley came chasing after it. All right there, Harry! He had time to yell as he beat the bludger furiously towards Marcus Flint. Fred or George?
Fred or George. Okay, so this is the first Quidditch match, which is not told from Harry's point of view.
Certainly the back 2/3, yes.
Which is so weird, and it's very fun.
I didn't realize it till you brought it up. I have a trivia question. William, could you please participate? Please name 5 chapters that are not from Harry's point of view, not excluding sections of both his first and second Quidditch match. His second Quidditch match also kind of leaves him as well, which I didn't realize until you said it. The first one does, but the second one leaves it a little bit as well. But what are those 5 chapters?
The 5 chapters that are not... Well, let me finish the Fred or George first.
Right. I apologize.
We are having too much fun. Let's see. This is so annoying because it's like a 50-50. And like, if I just said it like confidently, it'd be like, duh, it's, you know, whatever.
I thought this one was too hard.
My guess, So like my memory of this, I'm trying to think through like the specifics of this. Like I'm leaning towards Fred because I think from Fred's, that's because it's because my granddad's name was Fred. That's why I'm leaning towards Fred. I feel like it's Fred. So let's go.
Fred
with Fred.
is correct.
That was kind of luck.
Unbelievable.
I wasn't for sure. I didn't.
I thought that one was too hard. I'll read.
That is really hard. That's a really interesting one, though. I mean, why not? It's something I haven't thought about forever. That chapter, all the time.
It's good.
And then we're talking about the 5 chapters, not from Harry's point of view.
Yeah, I was looking for the card. Yes.
What level is that on your thing?
I believe it's level 3, which is probably a little aggressive, but to me, it's just like I love these chapters so much. To me, it's just like it lives on the edge of my brain. Here it is. Name 5 chapters or describe the scenes that are not from Harry's point of view, not including a portion of his first Quidditch match.
Well, Spinner's End, The Other Minister, The Dark Lord Ascending, The Riddle House.
Of course.
Chapter 1, Book 4. But yeah, and in Book 6, the first 2 are both because there's The Other Minister and The Dark Lord and Spinner's End are both the first 2 of that. And then how many have I said? I haven't even did I get them all yet? I don't.
No, you said 4.
All right, so I got one more. Yes. Chapter 1, Book 1.
The Boy Who Lived.
The Boy Who Lived. That's hard. That's dumb because it's like the most indelible chapter in the whole thing. In the whole.
I know.
But yeah, but it's the other ones. Dude, I remember so excited when Book 4 came out and it was opened with the Riddle House.
You are literally reading. Which Harry point of view chapter is your favorite? Reading from the Ultimate Harry Potter Commentary Guide. And I literally say the exact same thing. That
is it because you quoted me anyway when I said it, or did we?
That could
how
be
much
possible.
of this happened from our trip in Louisiana, or this was already written? That's right.
I was reading these to you, and then
that's right.
As I was reading them to you, being like, "Hey, I definitely took a lot of your thoughts." But yeah, that's exactly what The Goblet of Fire was the first book I read immediately upon its release. And while I waited for it, I just read books 1 through 3 over and over. So I jump into this brand new book in the series, and Harry is not even in the first chapter. It was amazing. Then we get an even better opening in The Half-Blood Prince. The Other Minister scene is unbelievable.
That one was electric. That was electric.
The Other Minister is my top. That's what that ultimately lands on.
The Dark Lord Ascending is a bummer.
Yeah, I think that's probably 5th place.
That one's a huge bummer.
Sorry, Charity. Not your day. Your one and only chapter.
But a lot of character development for Snape and how baller he is, and how he's very much like Cassian Andor in that way. He will do the dirty work to make it
also
happen.
Did Charity Burbage deserve to die based on how wizards understand the Muggle world? She probably deserved to die.
She's terrible at explaining it.
We'll save this for another pod, but Arthur Weasley, obsessed with Muggles, literally an idiot. It just doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I'm not sure he can count.
Money. I don't know what to do with it.
These bits of paper. 20?
Arithmancy. Most kids don't take it. I assume that's where you learn math in the wizarding world, but I don't actually know. Okay. We're running an hour 36. So maybe I'll save the other Fred and George. I had another one, which I think was
shout out House of R,
easier one.
Our heroes.
Exactly. We're
way shorter than them.
We're not the Midnight Boys. We're clearly not the Midnight Boys. Let me end with the final segment of stealing from Bill Simmons' Parent Corner, and just the journey that I'm going through with the kids.
And I'm like Cousin Sal because he has more kids than Bill.
Exactly. But luckily, you're not a Cowboys fan, so we can still be friends.
Nope.
Um, there, there's two things I want to cover. One is how they enjoyed the movie, and two is a line that this is like when you're reading with your kids, different things stand out because you're just like trying to picture how they're taking it in. Uh, And I feel like it's the same thing when you're watching like a movie with your parents and like, or now I can say that with your kids. Like you're watching something with your kids and it's PG and you weren't sure if they were ready for it. And then they like swear and it's just like so hyper aware for you. Like, oh my gosh, they just said a swear word, which I obviously would not care about, but
Have they experienced watching heavyweights? They moon Tony.
yeah. Or like watching Sandlot for the first time. You're like, they say a lot of swear words in here. But you don't know it when you're only watching with adults. So anyways, this line, well, I'm going to start this with a trivia question. And the trivia question is again one of opinion, but the trivia question is who is dumber? Crabbe or Goyle? I think there's a definitive answer. So I would like to know if you have any thoughts here. If you don't, I have many thoughts.
Crabbe kills himself. He's dumber.
That is ultimately what AI told me. I was like, you can't be dumber than Fiendfire. But I think there's more evidence to go off of.
You think? I mean, I must not look like a. Ron makes a joke about Goyle having to do lines would kill him. Right?
Yeah. He hates writing.
Give him lines. He hates writing.
This poor student who's just asked to do essays.
You think when they do that, when they say like "I must not look like a baboon's backside," do you think they should just say something else to make it funnier?
Yes, they should just swear.
Yeah, they
all
should.
the time.
They should just
in this show. There should be lots of swearing. Yeah, I think the answer is definitively Goyle. I'll run through. This morning I searched all the references that say Crabbe or Goyle in all 7 Harry Potter books, and there's only like 275 or something like that. And I think it's a definitive answer. But this line, I don't know why, like it just made me. Cassie was also reading with us, and I was just reading out loud to the girls, and I just could not stop laughing. It was just a line I forgot, and I feel like it's so savage where it's talking about exams after Harry's first year, and he's like, I forgot that there were exams, and they had hoped that Goyle, who was almost as stupid as he was mean, might be thrown out, but he passed too. That is such an offensive line, and they're not even talking to each other. That's like the narration of the book. Like it's obviously Harry's opinion.
So this is what I mean when I say like the wizard world's rough, man. They're mean. Like and it's funny. It's dark humor. Like I mean, I was talking to this with my son, the parent corner, about like we're talking about like Dudley was as wide as he was tall. And I was like, well, I was like, it's a book.
They get graphic with their descriptions.
They're using hyperbole for effect. So like it's,
I vividly remember Googling what the size of a small killer whale is, and I was like, so Dudley is roughly 3,000 pounds is where roughly.
We're at. Or I mean, like, Hagrid would be like, he would make Wembanyama look small. Like Hagrid would be like 12 feet tall, like 10 feet tall, right?
Yes.
Like if a 10-foot tall person existed on planet Earth and walked around London, he would get more than a couple side eyes. Like they would probably, the British government would probably like kidnap him and study him and be like, something's wrong with you. What are you?
That's a good point.
But yeah, we had to talk about like, is Dudley as wide as he was tall?
Yeah.
Like how fat do you have to be? That was our
great
conversation.
Great hyperbole. But yeah, I believe based on that quote, your quote on he hates writing, I must not like a baboon's backside. Also, we find Crabbe reading a comic book later, which kind of shows, he can read. And then almost every time there's like something physical happening,
Was it Martin Miggs, the Mad Muggle, you think?
Yeah, good question. It's Crabbe.
He wouldn't read about a Muggle. Muggles are dirt.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just making fun of Muggles. It'd be like reading, I don't know.
Then it would just basically be like propaganda.
That's true.
And I would be in the Weasley's house. Ron wouldn't be reading like
that's a good
a
point.
precursor to the pamphlets from Umbridge.
Yeah, he's probably reading about some pure blood dystopian society where they've murdered all the muggles and they rule. More likely. But
Crab likes pictures. I mean, he can read, but he likes the pictures. That's why he's
That's a good point. Every time something physical is happening, though, it's Crab. Like, I think you could reverse the question: who's like bigger, Crab or Goyle? Like, Crab is who Malfoy picks for his second at the duel. Crab is the one who hits a late late bludger at Harry. In the 5th book, almost knocking him out. Crab is the one who almost chokes out Neville when in the 5th book. Crab clearly is the bronze and the brains, and Goyle is just stupid. So not a good look for Goyle.
He's just there for the vibes, I guess. I don't know.
But then completely reverse trend as, Crab kills himself. So
we don't take orders from you no more, Draco. I hear Jim Dale's voice in my head. Diadem. What's a diadem?
What's diadem? I read that like 3 times this morning. And then as I played categories today with my children, for letter D, name something you wear, I was on a team with Maisie and I demanded that we do diadem. So there we are.
Which is a word I had never heard in my life until the 7th book.
Yeah, that sounds right. Again, I think that's another category we could have in a future pod is things I didn't know weren't magical or just in the world of Harry Potter. And they're actually just normal things that are in life. I just only learned about them through Harry Potter. Like
quite a bit.
Head boy and head girl. I didn't know that was a thing at just boarding school. I thought J.K. Rowling made that up.
I learned that from Roald Dahl's autobiography about his time in boarding school, and he would get caned all the time, and how often they would just whack children with canes.
Sounds like I was meant for boarding school. I had more on my kids, but we're at an hour 45, so I'm going to save it for the next pod in case, nothing good happens over the next week. But how do you think we did?
I had fun. I think we did great.
I had lots of fun. Cassie is not going to be happy, and maybe she'll cut out a little bit, but I feel like she's got to keep 99% because it's all gold, and I don't know what you would cut out.
I feel like it went smoother than last time.
Well, we didn't have to re-record as far as we know, so that's exciting. And
let's hope the audio's good.
I think it's going to be great. Did I do less heavy breathing? I don't know. I am a little bit further away from the mic, so hopefully that helped. But please let us know. Half-Bloods, we'll see you next week for episode 3. And what's our sign-off? I don't even remember what we did last time.
Knox.
Ooh, I kind of like that. It only works on video, but I like it.
I don't know.
We love you, Half-Bloods. Buy my game so that
the game
I'm not
rules,
poor.
guys. It's so fun.
That's how we end it. We end it with begging people to buy the game. So please
buy the game, guys. It's so much fun. You'll love it.
See you next week, Half-Bloods. Buy the game. Bye.
Love y'all.